Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Jennifer and this is my reading vlog, or my not so reading vlog. I decided I'm going to start doing the reading vlogs again while I'm in school so I can have videos out more frequently versus me just shooting random videos whenever. I think it'll be a little bit easier to edit and make videos like these and just kind of talk about my day. So I'm updating y'all and YouTube about this. And we're back at my old bookshelf that was seen quite frequently at the beginning of my channel, but hasn't come back up recently since then. So I'm literally sitting on the floor of my bedroom in front of my very Nightmare Before Christmas and Hello Kitty themed bookshelf. So today is actually Tuesday, the 22nd of January. I did not make a vlog on Monday because that was my last day off before I started school today. I did read on Monday. I started Kelowna's Fall on Saturday, I believe, and then I finished this on Monday. It didn't take me very long to read. It's only a novella. It has like 150 pages or something. And this is the last book of the House of Night series that I had to read. So I am completely done with the House of Night series, and I am glad to be rid of it. I gave this book a 1-star rating. The problem that I have with this book is this is about like creationism and the goddess Nyx and where Kelowna and Erebus came from. Erebus is Kelowna's brother. The word girlishness was used way too many times to describe Nyx, and it really irritated me that Nyx is a goddess, but she is written and to be portrayed as the personality of a teenager instead as what you would expect from a god or goddess. I'm not going to go into too much details, but Kelowna's Fall, I think you know what's going to happen at the end of the book. He's going to fall from grace, so to speak, kind of like Lucifer. And pretty much the whole problem, the whole reason why Kelowna fell is, yes, he was touched by darkness, like, and I think, you know, everybody is, and da-da-da-da-da, whatever, that's fine, but the problem, the reason why Kelowna turned is because Nyx made him vow to never talk about the night before they went up into the other world. Something that obviously emotionally distraught Kelowna. She made him vow to never talk about it. Not only is that like going to destroy any relationship if you disallow any sort of emotional communication about something that has clearly upset them, but it's kind of abusive and kind of shitty to tell somebody that they can't talk about something, especially if it's going to give them emotional relief. And I'm like, shouldn't a goddess know that? And it really pissed me off because this whole series perpetuates and idealizes unhealthy relationships, and this is one of them. I know at the end of the books, you know, he's redeemed and whatever, but I am so freaking glad to be done with these books. I literally cannot. I started school back up again. I'm taking Anatomy 2 this time. I'm retaking it to get a better grade, hopefully an A. That's what I'm always aiming for. And today was my first day. Went over reviews, or went over the syllabus, what to expect, how much is weighed in each class, because even though it's one class, there's a lab and a lecture grade from 2 different classes that combine as one grade, one final grade. So technically I had 2 classes, I had 2 different professors, and we kind of started the lecturing, and I already have a quiz next Thursday, so that's fun. Tomorrow, since I only have school on Tuesdays and Thursdays, tomorrow I'm going to clean up, do laundry, and I'm going to go ahead and start studying. And that is my plan for tomorrow. And of course, read. I haven't really read all that much today. I did bring my book along with me with school. I was too wrapped up in the whirlwind of everything that I simply did not read. My next read is The Complete Stories by Flannery O'Connor. They are the short stories that Flannery O'Connor has written. I believe there's like 15 different stories in here. Quite a big book. I think there's 555 pages in here. The only thing I read was the introduction. I haven't really read anything else. I'll probably read one short story before I go to bed today, and that's all I'm going to read. I actually take a long time with books that are compiled of short stories. I started The War of the Worlds and Other Short Stories by H.G. Wells like back in 2017, and I still haven't finished it. So we'll see how well these go. The short stories actually don't look too long, unlike H.G. Wells short stories, so maybe I will be able to read this thing like all at once, whereas with H.G. Wells, I kind of just read one short story like every other time I read a different book or something, and that's why I haven't finished it yet. But I'm hoping, because these look shorter to me, that I can get through this quicker. I'm probably going to take all of February to read this, in all honesty. Like I said, I'm just not very quick when it comes to reading short stories. I know some people are, like, they just fly through them, but I don't. For whatever reason, when I'm reading a book of them, it just takes me a while, rather than just, like, me reading one big book that follows one story. Otherwise, I don't really have anything new, although I did want to share this awesome book bag I got off of Etsy. I'll leave the link down in the description below if you want to buy one yourself. It is an American Etsy store, but this is the coolest book tote bag that I've seen in a long time. Well read till I'm dead. And it's a little skeleton guy reading ghost stories. And I just thought this was the cutest thing ever. It's just so cute. It's bookish and it's kind of gothic and creepy, and it's just right up my alley. And I can't wait to actually use it. I won't be using it for school because I'm gonna be real with you. Carrying a lab manual, my own books, folders, binders, it's not gonna fit in this bag, and I don't want the bag to accidentally rip because how heavy it is. Durable backpacks are the best way to go when you have heavy textbooks. But I am so excited to use that bag. They actually have like stickers of the same design that I'm kind of like tempted to buy and just put it on random stuff. So that is all I have to say for today, so I will see you tomorrow. Today is Wednesday, January 23rd. I'm about to go to bed so I can get some well-needed sleep before school tomorrow. Today I've only read 2 short stories from The Complete Stories by Flannery O'Connor, and that was The Barber and The Wildcat. I didn't particularly enjoy those 2 short stories. While they weren't bad, I didn't like them. I like the one that I read the previous day, the geranium. I'm probably butchering. It's a type of flower. It's a scientific name for a type of flower. It's kind of sad, and it's kind of like this guy, he's set in stone in his own ways, and he's racist, and he's alone and sad, and he's old, and he knows he's eventually gonna die, and he kind of like portrays himself like every day he looks forward to his neighbors like putting out this geranium flower out on his porch, and they were late putting it out, and it was kind of a sad story, but at the same time you're like, I don't feel sad for a racist old geezer. But that was really the only story I've liked so far out of 3 of them. We'll see if that gets any better. Today I visited my boyfriend for about an hour to have lunch with him before he went off to school, and then once I came back, I started laundry. I read a couple chapters out of my textbook and my lab manual, did a couple of exercises out of that, started making some flashcards already, and I played video games. So I think today's been a pretty productive day, even though I didn't do a whole bunch of reading. I think I only read 15 minutes out of the whole day today, and that's okay. But that is all I did today. I read 2 short stories in about 15 minutes, and I studied and did laundry and played video games. That's all I did today. I am sure that's not too interesting for many of you. So I'll see you tomorrow. Alright, today is January 25th, Friday. Forgot to make a vlog on Thursday because I was just so tired and wrapped up at the end of the day that whatever. But yesterday I did read 2 more stories out of this. I read, hold on, let me look in my journal. I read The Crop, which was like a woman struggling with writing, always thinking that the best part of the story has to be the beginning, and it's like, well, if that's the best part, how can you create a story, because then everything following after that isn't good as well. I struggle with writing so much so that I can't relate to it at all, that I just dislike writing. Sorry if you hear Buddy, I'm just gonna ignore him. He always has to come and ruin my videos. And then I also read The Turkey, which I did not like at all. I put an X by, because I didn't like it. I just kind of felt like the kid was out in the forest. He had shot a turkey earlier, but he missed it. He ended up finding it eventually. He chased it down until it was dead. But while struggling through it, he was cursing God, saying, "God damn it. You know, this is, God doesn't want me to have this turkey," or something. And he has a laughing fit over it. And this kid's only like 11 years old. Well, eventually he's able to catch the turkey. The turkey just dies because the exhaustion of running and being shot earlier just killed it. And as he slings the turkey over his shoulder, he's all proud that he got his turkey. He ends up walking through town to go get home. He's being kind of prideful. You know, everybody's asking him where he got the turkey, and some other farm boys are following him home, and they end up stealing the turkey from him. And then, you know, the boys kind of like confused as to what happened, and then he runs home and says, or thinks, let me read it to you. He walked 4 blocks, and then suddenly noticing that it was dark, he began to run. He ran faster and faster, and as he turned up the road to his house, his heart was running as fast as his legs, and he was certain that something awful, which is capitalized, was tearing behind him with its arms rigid and its fingers ready to clutch. So I don't know, it's like this kid was being prideful, and now God is after him, or the devil's after him. Like, how dare you say God's name in vain, and how dare you be prideful and thank me afterwards. After you, like, it's a kid. He's 11 years old. I don't know if it states it in the story or if in the summary that I was reading. I can't really remember. But it's clear he's a kid. He talks about his mother. And I don't know, just kind of like putting the fear of God in kids. And it rubbed me the wrong way. I'm not really certain why, but it just did. But yeah, yesterday I also had classes for both lab and lecture. I have no idea what we talked about in lab or in lecture. Everything went over my head. In lab, everything made perfect sense to me. I don't know if it's the teacher or what, but maybe, hopefully, lecture will get better. And I have not read today. Earlier today, I got up at a pretty normal time, and I went to open lab to study, which it's not a class you attend, it's just like the lab room is open for you to come in and study, pretty much. But it's not just like bring your books and textbooks, you have availability to look at the microscopes or the anatomy models. And that's what I was there for. I was looking at the microscopes for all the endocrine glands we have to look under the microscope and be able to identify. So that's what I went for lab for, and then I came home, played some Mass Effect, the 4th one. I think the 2nd and 3rd are my favorite Mass Effect. And I do like the 4th because I like the new aliens, the Angaran in Mass Effect 4. But I do know why Mass Effect 4 gets a lot of shit, and it's because there are way too many glitches in the game. And the developers should have taken another year with that game, in all honesty. But anyways, I was playing that game, and then I went over to my boyfriend's house, and we had pizza for dinner. So I have not read at all today, but I am about to go take a nice hot bath and maybe read another 2 short stories, and that's all I'm gonna read today. Today is Sunday the 27th. I did not make a video for yesterday because all I did was work, play some video games, and read 1 short story. I worked again today, and I read some more, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about what I read the past 2 days. So, I read from the Complete Stories by Flannery O'Connor. I read the short story The Train, which we're first introduced to a character named Hayes. And it's kind of just about this kid's alienation or isolation from other people, not really being able to connect, and some psychological problems that he deals with. Pretty interesting, although I wouldn't mark it as one of my favorites, just because it felt weird to me. And then I read The Peeler, which is like this guy's trying to sell a potato peeler. Hayes is in this story again. And while in this crowd, a kid named Enoch, I don't know how to say his name, kind of comes up to him and, starts trying to befriend Hayes. Enoch is kind of like isolated. He doesn't really have friends because he's not really a good kid. And during all this like presentation of this guy selling a potato peeler, there's a blind priest going around like handing out pamphlets for their church. Hayes ends up ripping it off, ripping up the pamphlet, and like the girl that's with the blind priest sees him and is like, I saw you. And so Hayes ends up buying the potato peeler, follows them, and tries to like offer the potato peeler to her to like, because I guess he feels bad about ripping up the pamphlet. And like there's like bickering back and forth, like from the priest to Hayes, like, Jesus has marked you, and you can't hide from Jesus. And Enoch is, like, making jokes about religion, and, like, this ain't no church, and stuff like that. So, to me, it was very clear, like, it's like, come to the good side, come to the bad side. It's like, okay, it was alright. Didn't really care for it. Didn't really care for that short story, but then we go on to The Heart of the Park, which again follows the same characters, Hayes and Enoch. Starts off with Enoch pretty much being a peeping Tom at a swimming pool, and Hayes ends up like coming to the pool, checking out this woman who is supposed to represent sin, I suppose, and Enoch kind of like hitches a ride with him, and Hayes keeps questioning Enoch for the address of the blind priest and the girl in the previous story. And he's like, yeah, I'll give it to you later, just come with me first to do these things. And they go to like a restaurant to get Enoch a milkshake or whatever, and The waitress there is also supposed to be representing not sin, but she too is unclean. And the woman there is like kind of scolding Hayes, or like, a good boy like you shouldn't be hanging out with a bad boy like him. And he tells her, I'm not clean either. And she loses her shit because how dare you tell me I'm wrong? Or she somehow, because we know she's not clean either, so she's, I don't know. And then they go to a zoo. And a lot in Flannery O'Connor's books or in stories, birds are often religious symbols in her stories, or they represent, like, they're, I don't know. She has a fascination with birds. There's a bird on the cover. And then they, like, go to a museum, and they're checking out a mummy. And, Hayes is about had it with Enoch not giving him the address, so he, like, shakes him, give me the address, and Enoch doesn't give it to him, and so Hayes, in a fit of rage, I guess, I don't know why he got so fucking angry about a fucking address, but throws a rock at Enoch. Enoch falls back, and he dies, and bleeds out. So, is Enoch supposed to represent a sacrifice, or is he supposed to somehow represent, the sacrifice of Christ, dying on the cross? But at the same time, it's like, why is Enoch being representing as Christ when he's done all these pretty crappy things earlier in the story? Or is the mummy there supposed to somehow be representing Christ because he's watching everything? I don't know. It was interesting. I don't fully understand what was going on or what it was supposed to represent, but I did like that one. That one was a little bit more interesting, a lot more suspense, I guess, or a lot more build up. But yeah, that is all I've read this week. So as a wrap up, I finished reading Kelowna's Fall from the House of Night series, and I'm completely done with that series, and I've gotten to page 95 in this book. And like I said previously, short story books, or a compilation of short stories, especially when they're big, take me a long time to read. I don't know what it is with short stories, but I read one a day, and then that's it. Even if the story is only 10 pages long, that's all I read that day. I don't know why. I guess I kind of have to have time to process it before I move on to the next. I'm not sure. But yeah, that is all I have for this vlog. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.